Hi friends, I'm glad that you're back with us this morning. Hi friends, I'm glad you're back with us this morning. We miss you at church, but Hi friends, I'm glad you're back with me this morning. We're going to learn a little bit more about our friend Abraham. But before we do, let's get our listening ears ready and our minds and our hearts ready to listen to the story. Okay, so let's everybody sit down. All right, everyone shake out your wiggles. Shake them out. Okay, now let's clap our hands. Y'all do this with me. Let's pat our legs. Let's wiggle our nose. And wiggle our ears. And pat our head and rub our belly. Good job. Now pat your belly, rub your head. Good. Okay, let's clap one time and hold it. Now, let's put our hands in our lap. Good job. Okay, let's have our listening ears ready. Let's turn them on real quick. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, are they good and ready? All right. Okay, so we have been learning about a friend named, does anyone remember his name? Abraham. Good job. Okay, so Abraham's story in the Bible, remember here's our Bible. Abraham's story is in the Old Testament. Do you remember where the Old Testament is? So we open up our Bible. There's the front half and the back half. The front half tells us all stories about God. The back half tells us a bunch of stories about Jesus. Okay, so this story is in the very front half. It's actually in the very first book of the Bible, Genesis. So we open our Bible. The very first book is called Genesis. And that's where we find the story of Abraham. So, does anyone remember Abraham's wife's name? It's Sarah. Good job. So Abraham and Sarah had a special message from 3 visitors. Who were those 3 visitors? Do you remember? They were angels. Good job. Okay, so Sarah and Abraham got a visit from the angels, and the angels told them what? It was a special message from God. That they were going to have a son. That's right. Good job. Okay, so when Sarah heard this, what was her reaction? Was she sad? Was she happy? Did she laugh? Did she cry? Do you remember? She laughed. She thought that news was so funny. Do you remember why? It's because Abraham and Sarah were pretty old. Okay, but God made a promise to them. Do you think God kept his promise? I think he did. Let's find out. Okay, so in our story today, God did keep his promise. He let Abraham and Sarah have a son. But guess what? They were really, really old when they had a son. Abraham, can anyone guess how old Abraham was? Do you think he was 25? No. Do you think he was 50? It's pretty old to have a kid. No, he wasn't 50 though. Maybe 75? That's like older than your grandma and grandpa. Do you think that's when they had a kid? That would be pretty old. Wasn't even 75. Abraham was 100 years old when he had his first kid. And Sarah was 90. That is way older than your grandma and grandpa. Can you believe that God let them have a kid when they were 190? But God kept his promise. Okay, so they had a son. Does anyone know what they named their son? They named him as a special name. It's Isaac. Can everyone say that with me? Isaac. Good job, friends. Okay, so they had a son, Isaac, and Abraham and Sarah finally got a son, and God fulfilled the promise that he gave to Abraham and Sarah. I think that is a pretty neat story, don't you? I think so. Okay, so does anyone remember what Abraham and Sarah's son's name is? It is Isaac. All right, and does anyone happen to know what the name Isaac means? It means laughter. Now, who laughed in this story? Isaac's mom, Sarah. She laughed because she didn't think God's promise made any sense. but she and her husband Abraham still believed in God. Okay, so here's what I want you to do this week. You know how you have a name and I have a name, and all of our names are pretty special? I want you to ask your mom and dad, how come you have the name that you have? Did you know my name is Miss Alicia? This is my name. Did you know my name is in the Bible? It's in the second book of the Bible, Exodus. It's in Exodus 6:23. That's where I got my name from. So everyone gets their name from somewhere. So ask your mom and dad, where's your name from? Where did you get your name? And then maybe y'all can look up and see what your name means. Does anyone remember what Isaac's name means?